So, right here in the studio, I am being joined by a former commissioner for information in Edo State, who is also former spokesperson for General Ibrahim Badamasi Babangida in the person of Prince Afegbua. Prince Kassim Afegbua, you are very welcome. Good morning.
Thank you very much for having me. Good morning, listeners.
Thank you very much for sparing the time to come and make sense of this all. You see, we've often said it, right, even here in this program. IBB is not one of those people you just hear about and pass. IBB is one of those people, you either love him or you hate him. You're not neutral. IBB, I don't want to read that name. IBB, IBB, tell me more. He's that kind of a person, really enigmatic. So anything to do with IBB is anything that's still current. Anything to do with IBB is something topical. People want to hear. So thank you very much for making it here this morning. Now let me
It's a pleasure. Thank you.
Let me ask you this question, right?
Yeah.
Because, you know, it will be flashing through the mind of many people. And you told me left 23rd of August, 27th of August, 1993. Making 32 years in between. Then we now have the book, A Journey to Service. So, the question would be in people's minds that, why now? So tell us what happened when you and IBB had this chit-chat, when he was saying, well, people are going to ask, why write the book now? What was the discussion between you and IBB then?
Why not now?
Why not now? Tell us what did you say?
It's also a good question to ask.
Right.
You see, you made a very good illustration about the man IBB. People hate to love him, people love to hate him. So it's not the road of the middleman. You either love him passionately or you hate him intensely. And for those of us who are, you know, from the Babangida school of politics, you know, and leadership, we see in him a leader who has the capacity to offer very useful advice, you know, mentoring the younger ones, who is rich in experience, who is also able to connect the dots between the yesterday of Nigeria and the today, you know, and who had contributed his own as a former military president and has since left the fray. When he turned 70 years old, 14 years ago, he made a public broadcast that he was quitting politics. That's partisan politics and all of that.
Right.
Because he wouldn't want people to be tossing him here and there and all that. He has invested enough hope in the, emergent democracy that we find ourselves now. And he's very much ready to contribute at all time, to ensure that the ship of state remains stable. Writing a memoir is an individual thing.
Right.
Nigerians must know this. IBB's critics must also know this. And that was why I came up with the idea that his memoir is on the one hand, his critics are on the other hand. You cannot take away from him his authorial impression as the one and only eyewitness to the account he's rendering. If you have superior account for him, go and write your own book. Let us also read from you. That is the only way you can enrich discourse and enrich history. But when you say memoir, they are autobiography. You are reflecting on what you did at XYZ point of time, and you are also letting the world to know, so that history will record it for him when he's no more. And so when I see people challenging him, saying this is not telling the truth, not this, please, if you know any further truth, go and tell it. The floor is very open for people to, let me say, to search their consciences and come up with something they think is the whole truth and nothing but the truth. But as far as we are concerned, General Babangida, former military president, has written a memoir, 420-page memoir, that captures in, very, pellucid details about his journey in service. And if you feel that you were part of that journey and that you were not properly represented, or you were not properly quoted, or not properly referenced, please go and write your own and help us fill up the missing link.
Right.
But to deny him the right to own an opinion on his memoirs is to miss the point altogether.
Okay. All right, my prince. So you are saying that, listen, if you are there and you are not satisfied, write your own, fill in the blanks.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's a shout out for those who are not very satisfied by the memoirs. You know, you can release your own memoirs. Okay, all that is now the political talk. Tell us the in-house one. That's why we are here.
In-house.
We want to know, like you were saying that when you said why this book is much anticipated. We want to find out. People have been wondering, when will IBB book come out?
Yeah.
You know, another charismatic person like that is Obasanjo, OBJ. Because if Buhari would not have been able, Muhammadu Buhari, who is immediate past president, would never have been able to gather such a crowd. Never. A person, the other heads of state like that. You know, these two are really charismatic. You know, they're always in the news.
Well, let me help you. Right. Without sounding immodest.
Right.
IBB is in a world of his own.
Absolutely. So I was getting there. I was even getting there. I was even getting there. Let me land.
Yes.
So now, IBB, who is like, you know, on the stratosphere there. Now, you said everybody was anticipating the book. To show you, when the book came out, it was an instant bestseller. Instant hit. I need this book. I want to read it. Where is the book? How do we see the book?
Yeah.
Instant hit. Instant bestseller, according to the publishers. So what I'm trying to say is that when you, as an insider, said to him, and he said to you, that what if the critics and all these people say, why now? What was the chit chat you people had?
No. I won't tell you all of that. I'm also writing a book.
Tell us a little bit.
I'm also writing a book on him.
Tell us a little bit.
Let me talk. Okay. I'm also writing a book on him.
Okay.
So I won't be letting out some of my own, essential details. Those little chit chats that will naturally spice up the flow of my prose.
Oh, okay.
But the point must be made that he didn't want to write a book, and essentially why he stayed up to this time was because he felt some of the actors have died, and he said, "Oh, why bother myself to write a book or a memoir or autobiography? There have been several books on me, out there, about 9 books written on him. Yes. His economics, the state of the economy when he was president. They've written books on that. Even the figures have been captured. The Nigerian state, as it were, they've been written on that. Another author, very brilliant author, Dan Agbese, had also done something elaborate on him. Yes. But people were still insisting that he should write his memoirs. And so he came up, he accepted. He said, okay, let me do one at least to fulfill all righteousness. Good. And now he has come up with one, 420 page, which in essence has not even captured the entire details of his trajectory in service. A 420 page will not capture, the IBB, the behemoth IBB, but it offers you a window, to see through what informed certain decisions while he was in office, some of the things they did, and all of that. But one thing that the reader must have in mind is that Babangida ran a military government. That's why I call him military president, right? Not a democracy. And so when people tend to say the buck stops at his table, in the sense of why not take certain decisions, people must know the delicate and the intriguing nature of military governments all over the world. Right. You are just first among equals. Your fellow members of the Armed Forces Ruling Council, or like the Supreme Military Council and all of that, you can't show too much of boss to them, because they were part and parcel of the plan to come to government. And now, when you are taking decisions, you have to bear in mind the delicate nature of the decision you want to take, the sensitivity of it, the logical conclusion that you are going to draw from that, and how you are able to make sure that you carry everybody along, so that the reason that motivated you to plan a coup ab initio will not also form in the minds of those people and all that. Yes,
it's true.
So for you to survive 8 years in the military government, you must have stepped on toes. You must have been able to dominate your environment. You must have been able to speak to some of a lot of the issues, and able to also pacify your colleagues, where you were all generals when you came on board and all that. Okay, they now made you are going to be the president, so you can't be lording yourself over them. You have to be able to balance, the intricacies, the logic of it, and all of that. And so, when you have this kind of scenario, people don't expect that you are just going to hit the hammer, on the head and say, yes, I'm the boss.
Yeah,
Just, no, you can't behave like a despot. Otherwise, you will, easily write your exit, because we say power is a crazy aphrodisiac. In the process of you rendering leadership and power, or even try to dissect same, or even in the process of even distributing, power, appointing ministers, you must factor in the interests of those your lieutenants, those first among those equals, for which you are now become their number one. You must make sure you balance all of those factors, so that you don't get on their wrong side. And I find it interesting at times when I hear people say they plotted a phantom coup, so in the phantom coup, and the people were tried and all that, like they were referring to the Versa issue. I think people must get to understand that when you are to plan a coup, you have to first of all start doing what they call sounding. You're sounding out people. You have an issue that is bugging you. You talk to one person, you talk to the other person. If you have like minds who support the idea you are trying to espouse in terms of that thing that is bothering you, that means you are already recruiting like minds that may support whatever you may come up with. So that is how coup planning comes up. And now you have a scenario where the military system has its own investigative procedure. And in the process of investigation, you have copious evidences and all of that. You cannot, at that point, say you want to help your friend, because you are dealing with an institution. And if you are dealing with an institution, you must firm up. You must firm up yourself to ensure that you don't sacrifice your friendship, or you don't sacrifice your institution for the institution, or you don't sacrifice your institution for your friendship. You must be able to differentiate and demarcate where friendship starts and where institution begins. So people say, his best friend in Versa and all of that, and he plays the music and all of that, and it was, the day you enlist in Nigerian army, till date is still being practiced. You sign your death warrant. How it will come, nobody knows. That's why they say obey before complain. You must carry out that obedience. You must carry out the instruction and directive. If you don't do it, there are repercussions. Even for you to say you want to voluntarily leave the army or this thing, it's difficult. They have to understand why you are leaving. They will subject you to a series of investigation, interrogation, to know your motive and all of that. Because this is an institution. Okay. And once you key into it, they've told your parents, you can't hold the army or the military responsible for whatever happens to your ward, because your parents have signed you off. Right. That you have signed your death warrant. And so when you now get involved in coup planning, if you succeed, you make heaven. If you fail, you face the firing squad. So those who succeeded, they presided over this country. There was coup in 1966, there was coup in 1975, there was coup in 1983, there was coup in 1985, there was coup in 1993. Before we now have this democracy. In all of this, survival of the fittest, or self-preservation, they say, is the first law of nature. You have to preserve yourself. Right. So IBB, to a lot of us, is that unique Nigerian leader who understands the dynamics in the country, who is also able to connect to different segments of the Nigerian society. That's why the event on February 20th at the Transcorp Hilton was a pan-Nigeria event. You can't come into that hall and see that this is a northern event because he's from the north. You can't come and say this is a southern event. It was a Nigerian event. Pan-Nigeria, the Igbos were there, the Jaws were there, the Yorubas were there, the president was there, former president was there. All kinds of, drawn from all walks of life. That is how you know a man who has been able to impact lives across this geopolitical divide without let or hindrance. He may have his mistakes. He may have his fault. He's a human being, no doubt. And some of these mistakes may be mistakes of the head or of the heart. But the final analysis says it's better to even take a bad decision than not to take a decision at all. He has often said that. And so when you see leaders who can connect to some of these issues, they definitely understand where they are coming from and where they were headed. And so he has done his bit. 8 years in the life of this administration, of this country. And I have spoken to people time and time again. But for the June 12th annulment, IBB, I don't think there's any president that will have, surpassed him in terms of achievements. Private sector, private television, we are here now discussing about TV. This is private television. He was the one who started it. Even licensed some people, even encouraged them. Newspapers, private newspapers and all of that. He encouraged them. Banking, he opened this thing, NEFund, he gave out loans for entrepreneurs for them to start businesses. NAFDAC, he started it. NDLA, he started it. Federal Safety, he started it. Build long-term build roads, dualize the road from here to Kano, dualize a lot of roads in this country, build bridges, build dams, increase our electricity profile, build aluminium smelting company, so many things across the country without saying, oh, this place is not the north, I have to do this in north. No, build universities, build airports. So the man has put in his best and now he's capturing it in a memoir and you are complaining. Please go and write your own if you think you want to complain.
Okay, well, we'll put the numbers up on the screen right about now. It's about 10 to the top of the hour, and you can very soon begin to make your calls and talk directly to IBB spokesman, who is right here in our studios live here to sample your opinions about IBB the man and IBB the book. Just before I start taking your calls, I just want to ask you this question.
Yeah.
Well, it's not a secret to you. IBB knows me. Now, IBB is somebody who will come right from that door and be calling out, Miss Attah? How does he remember people's names so well? Because
it's part of the training.
Everyone else was trained with it.
No, you see, IBB has a gift of the gab. Number one. Aside from the fact that he speaks well, he articulates the English word very well, he's also a very brilliant leader. I have learned a lot from him, over the years, in terms of experience, in terms of comparison, in terms of getting to know the country better. I think he also, widened my horizon, knowing him as a spokesman since 2002 and all that. I had known him before then. I was one of the virulent critics of IBB. Yes. Even when he was in government, outside government, I was criticizing, I was writing. And the day he saw me, he said, I like the flowery of your language. Right. Your language is very flowery. It sounds poetic when you write and all that, and you can also articulate very well. There are two gifts, knowing how to write and knowing how to speak, and all that. By the time he said they should bring me, about 17 persons have been profiled when they wanted to do this. He just told them, no, go after that young man called Kassim Afegbua. I like the flowery in his language. Yes. And that is him. Right. And a lot of those who also work with him in the military also see this aspect of him, that he's one person who connects to everybody. You don't know that he is aware of your birthday. In the early morning by 7 a.m. he's calling you to wish you happy birthday. You as a subordinate, you will be happy. You will be, one of his lieutenants, my boss, since he's calling me and all that. He has done that to me a couple of times. Right. And I told him, hence I say, you are not going to take me by surprise anymore. But that is a man who understands, who connects with you, your humanity. He also understands who you are and where you're coming from. And he believes that you have something to offer. He told me a particular story of how to engage in the civil service or in public place. He said, don't underrate anybody in the office space. Your cleaner may just be your savior. He told me, say they are called the importance of the unimportant. you will think that they are unimportant.
Yes.
But the unimportant in the office can hide your file in the office of the head of service and put it under his table.
Till you retire.
They will be looking for your file, or they won't see it.
Yes, yes.
Maybe it's a contract they want to give you legitimately, and that particular person, because each time you come, you undermine him or her, you just go to see the boss. You say, I will catch you. One day he sees that your file is passing through his table. They will go and hide it. And by the time they hide it, you start looking for file. If you want to start the process again, to take another time. To him, you have gotten satisfaction, punishing you for your own, seeming arrogance, not considering them or not even giving them the value.
Yes, talking about that seeming arrogance you're referring to. So what informs his humility? Because at that zenith, like I said, when mentioning people even internationally, you saw the array of people, foreigners flocked in for that ceremony.
Yeah.
This is, it's like a house of name, IBB.
Yeah, humility is born in him. I used to quarrel a lot when I see his critics. They will criticize him in the open. In the quiet, they will go to Mina to still have
mentioned. They have dinner with him.
They have lunch with him. Yes. And so one day I was exploding. I exploded. I said, why are you doing this? This man just spoke about us 3-4 days ago on TV, castigating you, saying all kinds of things. He said, yes, because I need to be castigated so I can learn. Right.
That's another thing about him.
Yeah.
He actually, he cherishes his critics.
Yeah.
Even the books, because Obasanjo just said to him, look, now you've released this book, get ready, you're going to have an avalanche of criticism. Yeah. And he was ready for it.
Of course, you see.
But we don't even have that now, even in democracy. We've had a Senate president, sitting Senate president now, has had people locked up for putting out something on social media. But they don't tolerate criticism.
No, that's the criticism you are talking has to be constructive.
Right, but he was even collecting negative criticism.
It doesn't matter. But you see, there has to be a sense of responsibility when you want to criticize.
Right.
If you criticize constructively, fine. If you criticize destructively, you will get the repercussion.
So why don't you get the legal repercussion? There's legal way for repercussion. Must you lock people up?
Well, I don't know the details of that. But the Senate president,
IBB behaving like that?
No, but the Senate president that I know, is a great guy.
Okay, let me not mention Senate president. Let me just say.
But I can say that he's a great guy. He's a great guy. He's my friend. I connect with him very well, and I can interrogate him, and anytime. But what I'm saying in essence is that IBB was trained as a military professional,
right?
A gentleman officer. So the understanding is that you have to first of all be even a gentleman, because you are holding gun. By your training, you are trained on how to shoot and how to kill. So you have to imbibe a lot of patience, decorum in your public conduct. You also have to know that you don't know it all. People must criticize you. Like me, Kassim Afegbua, a lot of people call me all kinds of names. But you will see anger on my face. Because whether you like it or not, only God can please God. No, human beings cannot please God. The Ebenezer Obey sang a particular song in Yoruba. I said, there is no amount of wisdom you have that you can please human being. He bought a horse. He was riding the horse. They say, why are you riding the horse and you left your son? Okay, himself and the son, they climbed the horse. They say, why do you want to kill this horse, two of you? You people don't have mercy or pity. Then he left them, the two of them, they will say, how can you have a horse and two of you are walking, following the horse? So he said, there is no amount of sense you have, no amount of logic, no amount of wisdom that you can use to please human beings. So all you need to do is to do that which pleases your conscience and leave the rest to God. And it is only God that has the capacity to measure who has done what and how you have done it, whether it has met with the standard that he set out for a well-ordered society. So for me, every day we keep learning. IBB is also still learning. I'm still learning, and I've been able to garner experience that also is helping me, in shaping my own perception about life generally. But I must commend him for writing that book, and I must commend him that he was even able to open up a lot of things.
Yes,
on a good day, he won't talk.
Right.
Knowing him, yes.
Okay, well, now you've said he's opened up a lot of things. You've made me open up something else many people want to know, and that's, like I said, from the lead about Abacha's children. But let's just take this call now. And we have a caller from Lagos. David, good morning.
Good morning, madam. This is David from Lagos. I'm one of your frequent callers. Good morning, Mr. Afegbua.
Yeah, good morning.
Yeah, I mean, one of the pertinent questions that I've been wanting to ask is that since you are the spokesperson of our dear IBB, why did IBB let Abacha in power since Abacha was one of the service chiefs? He actually retired all the previous service chiefs and they now left Abacha in power. Could you just try and throw some light on that? Because when IBB was going, he went with all the Supreme Military Council police and he left Abacha. Now Abacha now turn around and overthrow the institution. Please, throw some light on that. Thank you.
Thank you, David. Okay. You want to take that, or we should take more callers? Missed that one.
Okay. A very, very simple question. You know, if you follow the book, you will see his explanation about the fact that the military, you know, had become polarized. And there were now different cells, different factions here and there. And he knew that even handing over government at that point to a democracy might snowball into several killings and the consequences of which may not be able to measure. And so he needed a man who is the barrack man, so to speak, who can control a wide following among the lieutenants, among the military officers. Not just Abacha alone, he left Ali Ugoso also. He also left General Salami Abubakar. These are all senior officers. He left Jeremiah Hosseini. So it was not just about Abacha alone. He left quite a number of senior officers and all that. Well. Okay. And the reason was because he needed to, you know, ensure that they are able to put the boys in check.
All right. We have Hakim from Lagos also wanting to speak. Hello, Hakim.
Hello. Good morning, KAFTANTV.
You're welcome.
Yeah, and hello to your guest analyst there.
Good morning.
Yeah, in fact, if he doesn't know, he is one of my mentors. I see him as a good example when it comes to representing a principal. You understand? He's a true politician. I don't know him, he doesn't know me, but I see him on television and listen to him. I just cherish him. That's just it.
Thank you very much.
Having said that, describing IBB, I think, there is one big film, olden days film that we normally watch, call it The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. So, I'm not sincere here because, like he said in Yoruba, meaning that no matter what you do, people will still fault you. I'm not defending IBB, but the truth is, a little age. Yes, he must have done some things wrong, but we cannot take it away from him, especially if I'm not mistaken, the third Mela Bridge here built, I think it was during his time. So many infrastructure were done contrary to democracy that we've been fighting for to come. Unfortunately, these politicians today are not really doing what the military did for us in this country, even though we are not welcoming military. That's the fact. So, IBB, generally speaking, describing him is just as good as that thing. The good, the bad, and the ugly. You can put it whichever way. And he himself is not denying in some aspects, in some instance when he responds to issues. Building a country like Nigeria is not an easy thing. And another thing I like about IBB, don't take me as somebody who likes him completely. people's brain. When I talk about brain, those that will bring policy that you know that when this policy starts, you know that yes, even though I'm not in support of what you call structural adjustment program or whatever. So this is one of the ugly aspects of it. So see, what I just feel like is that our leaders, especially those military, but back on John himself, I like him. Even though people criticize him, the best thing is what can they do? The past whatever. What best thing can they do?
Right. What is the best they can do? You want to round up your thoughts, sir?
Okay, I'll round up now.
Right.
Those brains that they have, can they help to give the president advice on certain things, on things to be done, other things, especially in reflect and remembering the less privileged people in the country when you are making a policy that is not going to be too harsh on them. Tinubu is a very brilliant somebody, but again, his policy, he should check them. Masses are to be worked for, not to be depressed. I'm not saying it's suppressing us, but at least I know things is doing, it's things that must be done. But again, not that being doing it, masses are being suppressed, while the politicians are enjoying. That's a fact.
Right.
So God bless Nigeria. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. That was a call from Hakim. He called in from Lagos. And he's also giving a word into our current administration.
Yeah, but you know, thank you, Hakim, for your thoughts. I think it will be unfair.
Let me just add this one so that you take both together. Yeah, hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Yeah, my name is Shona.
Okay, Shaya, please speak up a bit and tell us where you're calling from.
Okay. I said my name is Shona.
Sheyombo. Okay. Sheyombo, turn down the volume on your television set. It's humming.
Okay. I've done that now.
All right, go ahead.
I've done that. I want to appreciate your guests.
Thank you.
He has taken one of his master. But my question is, as ready action, why now? Papa says so. Because all those people mentioned, Basa, what is it called? Basa, Abiola, Abacha, all of them are dead now. If you have seen this book, when they are alive, all these people are what the kind of fun would have had it. Why not? Because all these people are gone. Guest spoke that in fact this is the time when you could read this book because all these people, those actors are gone. I think if you are reading this book, all these people are alive, all these controversies will not be there. And I have to agree with each other, what do you call it, about the children. That she didn't blame his father. And the good as that, she really take responsibility of another interest. Not the person to Abacha. This is what has done it. Not the person. I found the other children. I do them to daddy. That's the stand.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you for letting us know you understand.
Well, let me, before I come to his own question, let me address that of Hakim. You see, it takes two to tango. I am a believer in Tinubu's presidency because I had opportunity of interacting with him during the campaigns, quite on many occasions, and I asked very pointed questions about what his plans are. One thing you can't take away from Tinubu is the fact that he's got courage to take decisions. Decisions that leaders take at every point in time are seen from the perspective of the information at their disposal, which are not open to you. President Tinubu collects information that are being sent to him from different intelligence units, different intelligence platforms, military, police, NIA, DIA, all of this, such that you cannot take away the fact that he has more information than you and I, as president or as even as a governor of a state. So what you do is how now processing those information. What decisions does he now take? The policy, the guy talked about policies and all of that. There are good policies in place. The problem is, are we as Nigerians ready to key into those policies in the process of implementation and do that which is right to ensure that they get to fruition for the benefit of all? We need serious orientation, serious attitudinal change in this country. And I say this all the time because it is easier for you to condemn government up there and thinking that it is between government and us than for you to even respect simple law. Just look at, I was talking about opposition the other day and I said, you just keep shouting of opposition, you don't give us alternative. I want to see the opposition play integral part of the entire democratic process by giving us alternative. Any policy you say is not good, you say this one will be better, let's try this. Then use your own shadow cabinet to play it up and let's see how therapeutic that your policy will be for Nigerians. You see a manhole, they put steel to cover them, manhole covers. People go and steal them. They cause crisis for the road user. They will take them back to go and sell. You see railway, you say, oh, they want transportation, you are building railway, they will go and remove the sleepers, the railway sleepers. They will go and sell them. You are costing government additional funding and all of that and frustrating government effort. If you are to commence railway from Abuja to Kano, for example, or to Lokoja, and people are removing the sleepers, at what point are you going to start that particular infrastructure? That is another. You drive on the road, traffic will say stop, they will stop. Every day in Abuja you see accident. And you see, so when we don't even comply with simple instruction, the cost of indiscipline is part of what is eating deep into our fabric. Cost of indiscipline. They do pedestrian crossing bridges. When they build out pedestrian bridges, they expect that you will comply, you will cross when you are crossing highway. They will not do that. The government will still go further and you even use barbed wire to block. In the night they will go and cut it again and pass through. So there are so many things that the citizen must do to also assist government in implementing government policies. It is not just about criticizing at all times. So for me, if we are able to play our civic responsibility as respected citizens that understands the expectations of government, they want to see a good life, they want to see certain things done rightly, then we'll be happy to simplify policy implementation process. But to just sit back and criticize blankly, is what I don't subscribe to.
Okay, let me take one thing here that's on the tab before you take the other guy. Good morning. IBB's revelation is commended by me. Did you put your name in? Yes. Okay. However, the damage that that annulment caused should be rectified. People died, properties lost. I think IBB should apologize to families that lost their loved ones and to Nigerians. This is coming from Boyimbogun from Idogun in Ondo State. Thank you, Boyimbogun, for your contribution. Right, you want to keep the calls coming as well. Remind me
of the second man's, the Soyombos from Abacha. He asked a question.
He said, why did he write the book now?
Okay.
Is dead?
Why not now? IBB is not God. I will know when anybody will die. Abacha died while he was still serving. IBB was just barely 5 years out of government when Abacha died in 1998. If my reading is right. MK also died in 1998. So 5 years out of government, that was when these persons died. And so it does not mean that writing now that he has nothing to say. It's only that some people will accept what he has said naturally. Some people will say no, we are not accepting. And I'm telling those people who don't want to accept what he has written that they should also offer us more enriching dimensions and perspectives about what he has written. Because there's no end to knowledge. Knowledge is a continuous process. And so if we gain something from the Babangida book now, A Journey in Service, then we can also gain from others who are going to write. It's like Femi Falana saying that he wants to take him to court and all that. He wants to sue for litigation and all of those. I say fine, Which of the constitution did he operate? So you tell us, a military government is a military government, whether you like it or not. They have their peculiar intrigues, they have their peculiar delicacy, they have their peculiar sensitivity. So when you try to weave together the intricate logic of the Nigerian Federation, you also have to know what informed persons or leaders when they are taking decisions. We have a democracy now. There are people who are complaining about what the president is doing, but for me, being an insider and seeing what is on the I cherish the fact that there is courage in leadership in President Tinubu. He is showing that courage. You may not like it, you may like it. When they remove some fuel subsidy, we were almost like cutting off his neck. But today, we are getting some level of stability. They are trying to fix all these refineries and what have you, and life is gradually bouncing back. Because leaders are those who think for the ordinary persons in the future times, not just in the immediate.
Okay, so, Prince, let's come back to our book, because like I said, it led from that blueprint question. So we have this Abacha and his children. You say there's a struggle for power. You know, I haven't seen the book. I hate to be in this disadvantageous position to talk. I like a situation where people can even quote me, take it to the bank. You understand? Now you put me in a little tight corner here.
No, it's not a tight corner. You have the soft copy online.
All right.
You can always get that. But any bookshop you go now, you get copies.
I will get it from you.
Yes,
I will get it from you.
I know, but what you are getting, if we continue to do for the Christmas with respect to the book, we won't be able to cover. We won't be able to cover our cost. Our cost price
Christmas for me. I'll hold that book up here. Anyway, that's on the lighter note.
You see, the point is,
my point is this Abacha.
Let me respond.
We need that response.
There is nothing they have said that is unexpected.
Okay.
They are children of late Abacha. They will naturally defend their dad. But we are talking about Nigeria and Nigerians. And we are talking about the role of their dad when he found himself either by act of omission or commission in the public glare, you know, and he presided over this country for 5 good years. If I replay back, you know, all of the anecdotes and stories that dominated public discourse during Abacha's era, they are not palatable. So the children must also know this. They must come to terms to this, because there were widespread killings, assassinations, murders, and what have you. If you listen to the confessions of Barnabas Rogers, one of the strike force of the Abacha hegemony, you will see that they took the country by the jugular. And so for them to be raising dust over nothing, what they don't even know about because they were young children, is even to miss the point altogether. We had the Ogoni who were killed in a very brazen manner. You had Afegbua, you had Kudira Rabiola, you had quite a number of assassinations during that period. You have youth earnestly asked for Abacha when 5 political parties, you know, come together and said, they call them five political parties on the same leprous hand, you know, come together and they endorse Abacha as a candidate. I was involved at that period because I was a member of the grassroots democratic movement. We went to Maiduguri for convention. When we got there, they used a Pojo Fafo for green color, army color, to represent Abacha as a candidate. And Mustafa and all of them, they all came to Maiduguri. And so I came with former IG of police, MD Yusufu, who is now late, of blessed memory. I came with him, he was looking for president at that period. And we went into the Economic Stadium, and before we started, after accreditation and everything, before they started voting, there was power failure just within the precinct of the stadium. After 1 hour, when they restored light, they said they have finished voting and that Abacha has been declared winner.
Wonderful.
And that was how we were just grumbling and murmuring, and you know, and it ended there. And they say, oh, GDM too had endorsed Abacha. We never did. And so those were the symptoms, you know, and the clear perspectives of dictatorial tendencies that dominated that era. And so when the children are talking, they should please also be cautious, because they should also look at the kind of what do you call them, repatriation in terms of funds that have been repatriated back to this country, that they say Abacha stole your funds. And so I will expect them to show some level of penitence, some level of civility, some level of calmness, you know, in contending with public issues in this country, so that they don't reawake the sensibilities of Nigeria with respect to the role that their father played when he was in government for 5 good years.
Right. Since I haven't seen it myself, in the book, does it say that it was Abacha who had the June 12th and all that?
Two dominant features played out.
Okay.
Babangida, given his leadership, nature of his leadership, said, I accept full responsibility. Absolute, that's the word he used.
I remember that.
Absolute responsibility for whatever happens under my watch.
Right.
Well, for the good, the other man said the good, the bad, and the ugly. Right. So he accepts. That is the hallmark of contemporary leadership.
So what brought
now is the role that individuals played in the process. As late General Abacha was, particularly involved in the process that led to the annulment. If you listen to the narration of Professor Humphrey, the chairman of NEC at that period, and if you also read his book, My June 12 Story, and all of that, you will see where he even said Babangida should be commended for even allowing the election ab initio, that Abacha and a few others never wanted. That in one of the meetings when he sauntered into the arena, the Abacha shouted at him and said, "We are telling you we have a security report. You are saying that you don't have security report. What is the you can conduct this election? This election cannot go on," and all of that. And IBB still insisted that let them go ahead with the election. So from day one, Abacha would never wanted the election to hold because of his own motive. Whether he got the endorsement of IBB or otherwise, it has to do with the balancing act, which I told you earlier. Because within the military government, when you see that you are having polarization and a few, movements here and there, you also have to be careful, because it takes the man who is alive to tell his story.
True.
And those who have gone
It takes a man who is alive to tell his story. Yes. Wow, that's germane to our discussion. So we'll just take a very short breather here. When we come back, Prince Afegbua is right here to tell us more, especially behind the scenes, the things we don't know. That's why he's here, about the IBB story and the IBB book. Please stay where you are. We will be right back. Thank you for staying with us. It's the press, it's KAFTAN Television, and Mikky, Attah, joined in the studio by the erudite Prince Kassim Afegbua, who is a spokesman for the IBB Colossus, and also a former commissioner for information of Edo State. All right, let's just take Mazi Okoroafo. Mazi Okoroafo, we have 3 minutes left. Let's have your take very quickly.
Good morning.
Mazi, go ahead. 3 minutes left, so to use 1 minute for your call.
They are getting their first segment. I get what about criticism. You see, the strategic management. The problem we have in Nigeria is that many Nigerian public servants, they don't like critics, whether it's positive or negative. But what you should know that when people criticize, there must be an element of truth or force. So that is why I'm normally telling that if you know you cannot absorb it, don't take office in any public office. Like, now even at Babangida, people are talking every day. We talk about Babangida disaster up to today. Historians have been going on about best friend, Mama Abacha. But the thing is this: the Nigeria has not even gone back to talk about the Gulf money of those 70s, 60s, and 70s. Nobody talking about that one. That's what you say. Forget about what they say about the kid. Cool is cool, whether it's right or wrong. But the thing is that social adjustment which he introduced, nobody talking about it. That's also the nation all this problem Nigeria faces today. That is why. So that's why people talk about it. I used to say that vanity upon vanity, all vanity. Good morning, Mazu Krap from our Kidnappers. Happy present day in Abuja.
Thank you, Mazi Okoroafo. Right. We've had Mazi Okoroafo's take. Well, I really want to sincerely appreciate.
No, well, he was trying to correct some people. He also fell into the same category.
Because we even talked about it here. SAP was something we talked here.
The point is, it must be made. Those people who conceptualize SAP, they are not dullards. Kalu Idika Kalu, Chuo Kongu, were some of the best brains that have worked in World Bank and what have you. And so when you talk about structural adjustment, it depends on what perspective you want to see. So SAP is the one who did this thing. SAP only reminded us that we should tighten our belt a bit and stop being wasteful. And so, Mazio Korafo, the Gulf oil windfall you were talking about, you were saying 60s. There was nothing like that in the 60s. There was nothing like that in the 70s. It was just a period of 16 months. That was Gulf oil windfall. When Kuwait and Iran and America, they were all into some kind of fight. So oil picked up from what it used to be, and the surplus is what they are talking about. And when the Afegbua report was set up, I read the Afegbua report back to back. I didn't see where he indicted IBB. What Afegbua report only said is that the money was invested in non-regenerative infrastructure. Abuja, the building of Abuja took a larger chunk of that. Building of roads, opening of Abuja, relocation of the government to Abuja, building infrastructure. Even on the day of the book launch, a lot of people didn't know. Your young man that I was, they didn't know that IBB built Transcorp Hilton. It was called Nikonoga Hilton Hotel at that time. They didn't know that it was government that built it. Even the same thing with Conference Center. The same thing with all the federal secretariats you are seeing there. All the structures. And so, if you say non-regenerative, that's your opinion. I may see that I want to build XYZ infrastructure for a particular reason. You know, the IBB created 11 states in this country. Go to those states today and see the development. Akwa Ibom is one of them. Will Akwa Ibom have attained this level if it was not turned into a state? And so it's convenient for people to criticize. It's good. You learn from criticism. Yes. And you also act on it. And so just to educate the minds of Mazio Korafo.
Right. You know, the beautiful part of life is that, you know, we are not in a kind of world where you're just subscribe to wherever you stay.
No.
So you can just, now Emirates is open, just take a trip to Dubai and see what is happening there. Yeah. Everything is driven by the government.
Of course.
Every blessed thing you see, and then they open it up to the public sector.
But the people are consciously aware that they must also not vandalize government property.
Right, which our people are not yet conscientized to that level.
Yes.
And you know why? You see, it still boils down to the government. Because if you are telling us that this is what we should do, are you doing it yourself? We want those who lead and lead in front. Anyway, all these are all as an aside. I want to really sincerely appreciate you for your frankness. You know, you tackled some of these hard not to chew topics. I just want to, please, grace me with this last one. How is IBB taking this flurry of reactions to his book?
Very interesting.
This is very interesting.
He's happy that even people have suddenly woken up to build the culture of reading. Okay. You know, Nigerians don't read, a lot of them. Yeah. Even that day we launched the book, even though we've not circulated it, people were already criticizing it.
And quoting from it.
Even without even reading it.
Yeah.
So the point is, I will enjoin people to go and read and get enriched with knowledge, so that in the final analysis, when they speak from the point of view of, facts, an informed perspective, and not necessarily trying to blackmail someone, backbiting, by raise, bad blood, anger, and what have you. So Nigerians are very enlightened people, no doubt. They are also very interesting people. I tell people I can't stay anywhere aside from Nigeria. I love this country to the hilt, and I want to be part and parcel of those who will make things happen in a positive way. Haven't been opportune to associate with IBB. In fact, by the time I met him, he educated me on a number of issues different from the perspective I had, as a journalist in Lagos, writing things against him and all of that. And I said, oh, okay, this is a different perspective. Why did you take this decision? He will give you the rationale and all of that. And I got, in fact, thoroughly humbled in the process. IBB is also a voracious reader. He reads a lot of books. People don't know this. And that's why when you write speech for him, he is going to correct you and correct you and correct you.
Wow.
And the kind of dimensions or perspectives he will offer you will make you see that he's a man who is bubbling with experience and not just anybody. And so when you talk to those who were his lieutenants, during his time, what is that unique thing about IBB? They will tell you that his intellect. and the fact that he's very courageous and bold. And I saw that person saying that somebody was a coward, somebody was this. Bullshit. You can't stop a coup, a coup, Dinka coup, with literally bare arms, and you call such a person a coward. No, these are kids when Babangida called the shots. So you should go and read their history and stop getting spoiled by the lootery that took place under their dad. And they can't run away from that. Is the verdict of history. We have been getting a lot of repatriations, from different countries and all of that. So for me, if they want to do a response, they should write a book on behalf of their father. Since they later went to their father, they should write a book. I also tell Nigerians how those billions of dollars left this country and they are being repatriated now. That will also help us, because even during Buhari, there was relooting of the loot. You bring money, $500 million, they will reloot it again and all that. So IBB is not a perfect man. It will be sacrilege for me to describe him in such words. But for God's sake, when you put the good and the bad together, I think his good outweighs the bad side of him. And I want to, on the basis of that, appreciate his leadership. And I've learned a lot from him. I will continue to learn from him. I'm actually not his official spokesman any longer.
Right.
I was his spokesman for about 22, 23 years. I've moved on. I have things I'm doing in my states. I'm also participating in so many other things, for government. I'm adding to advocacy. Also helping to synthesize government policies and all that, so that people can understand all of this. But in all, I will continue to hold on to the point that we must imbibe the culture of changing our attitude and ensuring that our orientation is geared towards the common good and build a national cohesion and be patriotic to the ideals and the visions of those who lead us. President Tinubu is leading today. We need to encourage him. We need to support him. We need to also try as much as possible to see how he can deepen the conversation around positive governance for the overwhelming majority of Nigerians who are captured in the rural areas essentially.
Prince Kassim Afegbua, vintage Prince. Thank you indeed for accepting all my trouble to come live to the studios today. Thank you for gracing our studios. You've really filled in some gaps we really needed to know. People were really calling. So thank you very much for today.
It's a pleasure.
And once your book is out, please, let's have
my own.
Yes.
No, you wait for us to synthesize, assimilate, inhale, and celebrate and serenade this particular one first.
Oh my goodness. All right. Yeah. We'll do it that way. All right then. Time has never been very friendly and we've run out of it today. So we wish you a glorious midweek morning, and that's been the press this morning on KAFTAN television. We hope we're able to fill in all those gaps you wanted to find out, and it's going to be the press until the end of the week. Make sure you stay with us, and what can I say? I'm Mikky Attah saying have a wonderful morning and thanks for being there. Goodbye now.